Good morning. I am so glad to see you guys here. Please remember to let me know in the comments that you're here so I could say hello to you. Also, if you have any questions as we're working, feel free to drop a comment there and I'll try to address it. Today I am going to be talking about learning while doing. I think it's so important to realize that part of the joy of painting is not the product. Part of the joy of painting, the real joy of painting and the creativity comes from actually the doing. When you work from that beginner's mind that we've spoken about before, and you just enjoy the process of doing what you're doing, that is the whole point. And as you continue to practice and make things, you'll get better and better naturally. If you think about a baby learning to speak, they are babbling at first, and that's kind of where you are if you're a beginner. When you're painting, you're at the babbling stage. You're just seeing what happens when you put different sounds together, like a baby would put their sounds together. And then eventually you start to realize that you can actually put them together as words and communicate. Well, the same thing happens in painting. So you will be learning by doing. Now, this week, what I've been learning is about transparencies. I really realize that there are certain paints that create beautiful transparencies, and it's because they're made to be transparent. And since I haven't been actually painting for that long, that was sort of a new discovery for me. And I was using this transparent yellow oxide, and I went through almost the whole thing. There's barely a little glimmer of it down at the bottom. I've ordered more because I was so enjoying working on it. And you can see here, for instance, on this piece, and on the really big one too, how if you lay it on thickly, it makes a really beautiful dark brown kind of color. But it also creates these beautiful transparencies over other colors and changes them. And so I'm going to be experimenting with that today, but using two different blues. So I have one called Indian Throne Blue, which is transparent, and one called Phthalo Blue in a red tone, which is also transparent. Now, I haven't really used those transparently before. I've used them, but not purposely transparently, so I'm going to be playing with that. And I'm just not attaching too much to what's going to happen. I'm just going to really try to enjoy and see what happens as I go. So let me put this away. And I think I put it away crooked. Yes, I did. That's better. Okay, so let me see. Is anyone here? Please make a comment if you are and let me know so I can say hello to you. And I'm going to switch cameras now so that you can see my working surface. So I started this morning, we've talked about this before. I don't like having a clean surface to work on. It bothers me too much. I feel like I have to be precious with it. And so I just messed it up with some charcoal, and then I put some gloss medium over it. And so now we're gonna, oops, sorry guys. I hit something. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. All right, let's see. Ooh, I see people here. Angela's here. Hi, Angela. And Dorothy's here. Hi, Dorothy. And let's see who else it says is here. Oh my God, I'm so excited that there's people here. But I'm not sure what I'm hitting wrong because all of a sudden all those things disappeared. So, Oh, there they go. Okay, yes. So thanks you guys for coming. All right, so today I'm going to be using, this is going to be the Indian Throne on this side, and this is the Phthalo on this side. And I have to put my glove back on. I reuse my gloves over and over. That's why they're such delightful colors. But I do like to wear gloves to protect myself because some of the pigments are toxic, even in acrylic versions. And so if I wear gloves, I don't have to worry about putting my fingers in it. So I'm noticing that the Indian Throne's a little bit darker looking, but when I apply it with a silicone spatula, I'm able to put it on really thinly and enjoy the transparencies, or put it on more thickly. And so you can see how I can go from transparent through more thickly. All right, let's try the other one and see what that does, just to compare them. So when you buy your paints, it says on them if they're transparent or not. And it was something I never really paid attention to before. And so now I'm going to start paying attention to it because I'm starting to really fall in love with the quality of transparency as I'm working. So I don't know if what's left in this one is going to be so transparent, and that's because I didn't shake it. Most of the colors stay mixed, but the transparent yellow iron oxide tends to separate. And so I forgot to shake it, so it's not going to be quite as transparent. But again, you can see how beautiful a transparency it does create, especially when you use like a silicone tool instead of a paintbrush. And another cool thing that's really happening here is where this yellow oxide went over the blues, it turned green because it's essentially mixing the colors. So let's rotate this a bit. So I'm just going to enjoy laying it on and seeing what happens. And I'm learning by doing because I'm watching myself. And what I showed you before, that beautiful dark color, this one isn't going to have that because of that thing that I didn't mix it well. So it's going to stay that kind of caramel color, but it's still beautiful, so that's fine. All right, so going back to some of the other principles that we've talked about, yes, learning by doing, watching yourself, enjoying the paint as it moves across, seeing what happens as you scrape through to get different marks. Just seeing what happens, and try to detach yourself from the product because who cares? It's Saturday morning, y'all. Let's have, a beautiful day, and this is like taking a walk, Let's just see what happens. Doesn't matter. It's not about what I make right now. It's about what I can teach myself as I'm working. It's about that meditative watching myself as well. All right, let's see if I can see if there's any more comments. Hi, Kathy Kelly. Oh my gosh, we went to high school together. Nice to see you. Nice to meet your daughter. All right, that is so funny. I'm not sure who else is here. Let's see. Oh, good, Dorothy. I'm glad that you're settled now and can watch better. And I'm so excited I can see the comments this time. It makes it so cool. So feel free to ask me if you have any questions as I'm working. So these kinds of silicone tools, they come in lots of different sizes and different shapes. Some of them are called color shaper, I think. And some of them are from Princeton, and they're called catalyst tools. But you can even buy things at like Marshall's or one of those kinds of stores that has a kitchen section and get like a rubber spatula and just use that. It just gives a different kind of a mark than you can get with paintbrushes. And they do come all different sizes. So, all right, let's play some now. I'm gonna paint now more and talk less so I can think and enjoy what I'm doing. I'm I'm going to try laying it on thickly. I'm going to allow some of the color to intermingle and mix. So see, this is what I mean by being really present. Like, look at that beauty that just happened right there. I didn't plan that, but because I am staying present in the moment, I'm going to allow at least a portion of it to stay. If I want to adjust it a little, that's fine, but really being present to the things that just happen, to me, that's the key to making a beautiful painting. And then every time you start to feel stuck, just rotating your canvas. So I think I'm going to go back to this darker of the blues and add some more of that. And I'm going to allow it to go on thickly. And then also scratch through it. So I also, I said that I like to start the canvas kind of messing it up, either by writing journaling on it that I'll cover, or by smudging charcoal and sealing it with some medium, like gloss medium or matte medium. But also, do you see how it already creates a history under these transparent parts and makes it so interesting? I love that part as well. So do I have to cover my whole canvas? No. Can I cover my whole canvas? Yes. I really just want to think about this like a Sunday stroll and see what's happening and respond to it. Let's see what happens if we add in some white. So I use a Tupperware as my palette, because then when I'm in between painting sessions, I can just close it up, and it makes the paint last until the next time. In fact, like you'll see, I've got all these old ones that are from yesterday's painting session, and I don't. Sometimes I mark the top with what color is inside, and sometimes I have to look inside to see, and I don't really remember honestly if I marked the tops yesterday. I think that I didn't. So let's see. I'm gonna just allow the paint to mix. While it's wet, if you allow it to mix, you get these beautiful variations in it. And I think I've spoken before about also you can load your paintbrush unevenly, so that if you have a wide paintbrush, you can put a color on one side and a different color on the other side, and then make a single stroke and see what happens. You get kind of a similar thing to that. Here, I'll show that now. So for instance, if I load my paintbrush with, some white and some iron oxide on the two different sides, and then I go ahead and I make a stroke, it will add more pigment on one side than the other because of what was on my brush, and it just can create a really beautiful surface. Just going to see if anybody's having any more questions. Okay, Dorothy, I do have a question. I hesitate using my lead and charcoal pencils because they smear. So did you just say that after you put it on your paint, you paint medium over it before you start? Yes. So I used gloss medium over it, and the other thing you can do is even just wet it. As soon as charcoal gets wet and dries, it won't smear as much. So it's just about it being in its raw form that it gets smeary. And so you can see that the charcoal is not mixing right now with what I'm doing. All right, let's do another stroke with half blue and half white, so you can really see, because since this one is a light color, it was a little harder to see. But you can tell how I've loaded my brush unevenly, and now if I'm going to make a stroke, look at that. Isn't that so cool? So you can enjoy things like that. A lot of times on these Saturday painting sessions, I try to put myself into the head of the students that I used to teach. I taught kindergarten to fourth grade art, and I just really absorbed their joy of living in the moment and watching what they were doing. Kind of, if you've seen kids finger paint, how they just get so into it. And yeah, we can do that too. Feel free, especially if you're wearing gloves, to dive in and let your fingers have a little bit of joy too, because a lot of a beautiful painting is the variety in the marks, and you can't get that same mark using a brush as you can using a finger. So fingers are a fabulous tool. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions. Brilliant. Thank you so much. You are so welcome, Dorothy. This is so much cooler when there's actually people to talk to than when I used to just, the first few times, couldn't figure out how to see the comments and I was just talking to myself. And now I get to talk to you guys. All right. So, all right, what just happened right here? There was a little bit of lighter color on my brush and I started to rub out a spot that bothered me. And then I loved the way the light looked, so I added that in. Really just enjoying what happens as it happens. Feeling like I want some more yellow down here, so I'm going to go ahead and get some more of that yellow oxide on my silicone color shaper. And I'm going to add some of that in. Now I'm adding it in transparently right now, and so it's going and showing the blue that's under it, but changing it to a greenish tone. If I want to add it on more thickly, it's kind of like icing a cake. If your paint is wet still, you have to put it on very gently or it will intermingle and mix. And if you want it to go on thickly, same thing. So think about icing a cake. And you'll be able to lay color over color without them mixing. Oh, goodness. Sorry guys, my other device just fell. The one that when I look at you, I see you on. I don't know how that happened, but it did. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions. Otherwise, I'm going to switch back to the talking one. All right. So anyway, these little pieces, they're really fun and easy. There's no pressure. It's about learning while you're doing and watching what happens. And when you like something that's happening, doing more of it. Really allow yourself to say, ooh, I like that scratch here. Let's go to both so you can see me, and I think that does it. Let's see. There we go. So, as I'm looking at this, like, ooh, I love those scratches. Let's see if we could do some more of those. So let's do some in the golden area. Let's do some that are straight lines, not curved lines. So really just enjoying all of the different things that happen as they happen. This is how you get into the kind of meditative state that you would get into in a yoga class or in a meditation class, and how you can really enjoy just a peaceful Saturday morning. Now this white is not transparent, but I think that I can use it transparently if I apply it with my rubber spatula. Now I said I think because I'm not 100% sure and I'm still learning. Now I'm a professional artist and I'm still learning, so you really might still be learning too, and that is great. That's really what I'm trying to encourage here, is that the learning state of mind is how you become creative. It's not, so I did find a little bit of transparency, not as much. It's not a bad thing to be in that state of mind. It's a great thing. I think all the creativity comes by being in that learner's state of mind. beginner's mindset. All right, you don't need to watch the top of my head, so let's turn that off and just go back here. Now I also, since I do know how to paint, I do have more knowledge than some of you may. I am still thinking kind of loosely about composition and about how I want my eye to travel. Like all this white over here, it's catching my eye, it's not letting me get to this side of the canvas. So I know, because of my years of experience, that I need to bring some of my white over here to help the eye travel. And so now can you feel, let me move these over a little. Now can you feel how your eye bounces back and forth a little bit more? And if I add even a third spot, that will then travel like this. And if I want to have my eye travel up here, I can add some more up here as well. So I like to think about how can my eye travel around. I like to think about those white shapes are all different from each other, different sizes. Maybe one of them I'm going to put the paint on real thick. Maybe one of them I'm going to allow to have more mix in it. But it's still just looking for those variations makes it more interesting than if I just do the same thing. And the nice thing about these little canvas boards is they're so cheap. It's like, it's just not a big deal if I'm not happy with the result in the end, because it's just a practice day. All right, I think I'm going to check if there's any more questions. All right, it looks like there's no more questions, so I'm going to just go into my little ending spiel here. Thank you so much for coming. I want to remind you that I am at the gallery today, and here's the little card for the gallery. We're in Cathedral City in California, and on Perez Road in the I building, and the exact address is there. I hope that you will come visit. I'm open Wednesdays to Saturdays from 11 to 3, and every month we have a different visiting artist. We're currently showing Molly Preston's amazing, beautiful work, and so I would love if you would come and see that. Next month is Desert Open Studios. There are 67 different artists from across the whole Coachella Valley opening their studios to the public, and it's free. And if you go to desertopenstudios.com, you can get more information. Very soon our maps will be uploaded so you can actually start planning your tour. And if you are interested, let me go back to me. If you're interested in following me on social media, my Instagram is @AnnBedrick. And if you have any more questions, let me turn that one off. If you have any more questions, just feel free to drop me an email or add your email below, and I'll add you on to our mailing list, and you can get a free desktop wallpaper as well. So anyway, okay, that was bad. It dropped in the paint. So anyway, that's all. I'm gonna go clean it. I don't know why it dropped off, but thanks for coming, everyone. Take care. I'll see you soon. See you next week.